Welcome to the second episode of the Devlogs. If you want to see exactly in detail how I made the tree chopping mechanic that you just saw a few seconds ago, make sure to watch the video to the end to see me suffer for the 2 whole weeks I was working on this. Oh, and also, if you want to know what this game is about, go watch the first few minutes of the previous episode right up here and come back when you're done, because trust me bro, this is like the weirdest and the most genius game idea that you'll probably have ever seen before. So with that out of the way, go grab yourself some of that juicy Bloxy cola that you have in your virtual Roblox fridge, and well, enjoy the show. Oh man, this is gonna be a wild episode, but I'm sure you're gonna like it. So, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna finish up the things that we didn't manage to do last time. That is fixing up the toolbar right here. So after that is done, I'ma continue on with the droplets. That's gonna be the cherry on top of this episode. And make your vision buds go all crazy from seeing all the satisfactory stuff that I'm gonna make. Okay, so I fixed it. And I also added mobile support, so it actually works for them. As in you can actually click on the buttons on the bottom. So let me show you how that looks. Well, I don't know if this is the best sound effect that could be used for this, but I couldn't really find anything better because, as you know, the audio library is kinda vast. But oh well. But now, let me just show you what the problem was. So, as you can see, the tools appear normally right here. And when none of the tools are equipped, there seems to be no problem. But when you equip the hoe, I mean the site, then problems start to arise. So if we equip it right now and wait out the intermission, we shouldn't have the hoe for some reason again. We can see that the hoe for some reason is not there. Because if we come to the Explorer page and click on the tool, we can see that its position is really weird and not where it should be. So if we copy this and insert a part and set its position to the tool's position, we can see that it's for some reason here. But if you look closely, you can kind of imagine that it's the place where my tool would be. So basically what happens is, for some reason when the tool gets added to the world model, its position doesn't change for some reason to the position it should, because the tool just gets duplicated with the position of the last time when the tool was equipped. So as you can see, I have these 2 folders, and one of them holds the copies of the tools, which get added to the toolbar's world models and should come back to their default positions by themselves, which is basically where I manually put all of the tools in the center of the world, 0, 0, and manually adjusted their rotations and grips. So to fix this, I created a local script called viewport fixer, which is kind of like a band-aid over the problem, but it works. Because I'm not completely sure what actually causes this problem. Because it just should work, but it doesn't, so it just automatically resets the position to what it should be when it gets added to the world model. So now let's move on to the juicy part. That is making the cool choppable trees. So let's firstly start with making animations for the tools. But as you probably don't know, I absolutely hate animating. But oh well, do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it, eh? But since right now I'm only focusing on the trees, I'll only make the animations for the axe for now. Okay, now, way too much time later, I have finally something cooking right here. Which looks pretty decent, I'd say. So this is gonna be the moment of truth. Will my custom click detector work? I have no clue if it's gonna work, but let's see. Uh-huh. fuck. Yeah, that didn't go so well. Well, the reason I wanted to create a custom click detector was because you know how if you insert a click detector into a part and when you hover over it, it just forces you to have a different crosshair than when you wouldn't be hovering over it. So basically I just didn't want to create a custom crosshair and simply just kind of take the longer route. But either way, as you'll see rather soon, that I chose a pretty different path than using click detectors. Like, because right now I'm thinking, what if this whole thing works like if the axe just touches the critical hitbox and then everything else occurs? So to make this more precise, I would need to create a different hitbox for the axe where it's only on the blade. So it detects the hit and it's only the sharp part of the axe. Now that I've created the touch thing, I also made it so that when you touch the critical hitbox, it moves around the tree. So let's see how that works. Oh, it actually works. But yeah, it is pretty lackluster right now, to say the least. Bro, I hate this intermission. Why does it always appear in the worst moments? Like, also a problem I see is that the axe doesn't move where the camera is moving. So if you want to hit a tree where it's somewhere higher and you hit, the axe doesn't follow you to the mouse. It just still stays right there in front of you. So you can only hit points where it's around your neck level. And that is not ideal whatsoever in our situation. So I'm gonna need to think of something else. For example, I'm thinking of making the torso bend depending on the camera. So let's say you're moving down, the torso also moves down. So for this attempt, I'm using a module by this guy right here. So as you can see, it kind of works. It is pretty much what I was thinking of, but does it work in practice in our situation? I mean, I guess it's closer to what we're trying to achieve, but I'm not really liking how far the axe is or how close it is. Like, for example, if you move too high up, the axe just goes beyond your head and you don't see it anywhere. And if you move your camera too low, the axe just for some reason is way too far than it should be. And I think I'll need to rescript this orb system too. But then I stumbled upon Maximum ADHD's module, which is called Realism, which does kind of the same thing but a bit more advanced. So let's see how this works. Yeah, I can see everything that I have. I'm already not liking how the axe switches randomly. When I move down, it kind of looks fine, I guess. But if I look up, it does not work like it should. It still doesn't want to animate up there. Yeah, I think we're gonna need to think of something else here. Oh man. Okay, well, after some heavy thinking, I've come to realize that I'll need to practically remake everything that I just made in this video. Well, the things that are related to the tree, because it's just really janky and it's really hard to customize the characters. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be using view models from now on. And with this it's gonna be much more easier to customize everything. But now I'm gonna remake all of the animations that I already made. Yay! So basically how I'm thinking for the animations to be this time is basically the swing has two stages. Like the first stage is when you actually do the swing, and the second stage starts after the tool has figured out if it has touched anything. So it's going to go into like two different directions. If it has hit something, it plays the hit animation. If it doesn't hit anything, it just plays the miss animation. So I'm gonna need to create 3 animations for this. Yeah, fun times. But now I've run into a problem where the hand doesn't want to animate, as you can see. So I made a slightly different rig, which is seemingly much more jankier than the previous one, but this one seems to work. So why that is? Well, basically for the rig that doesn't work right now, I deleted almost every other part that wasn't necessary for the animation. But for this I deleted only the legs and lower torso, but it seems to work. So what I'm thinking the problem is that it doesn't work because I deleted the upper torso. And maybe the other hand too, but I'm not too sure. So to fix this I'm gonna just not delete them and make the torso and the left hand invisible. And now it works. So now that the animations are done, again, let's move on to the view model. Okay, here's the first prototype of the view model. So far it seems to be working, but the position needs to be severely readjusted. Let me go into first person. And whoa, what is going on? I can't even reset properly. When what the hell is my axe doing? And okay, I am flying now. No, please, no, please. I think that the problem is that the view model simply doesn't have its can collide to false on all of the parts. So when I just move into the first person, these can collide false parts just push me forward. And when they're in the exact same spot as me, they just try to push me off with incredible force. So it just flings me a million parts away, while still being inside of me. So it just kind of goes on forever. But now that I've fixed that, I'll move on over to adding the axe to the view model. So this time it's kind of trickier to make the whole thing operate, because we can't just use the built-in equip function that Roblox has for the tools. But okay, let me explain to you exactly how this operates. So basically when the game round starts and you click on the tool, either from your keyboard or in the GUI, the view model gets parented to the camera object in the workspace. But before that, the tool from your backpack gets parented to the view model first. And then both of them get sent to the camera object. And then I just told it to the hand of the view model. But let's see how this works. Why is the axe up there, not on my hand? But let's see what is going on. The axe grip is like this, okay. And for the weld constraint, the grip is non-existent. So it just exists somehow. But let's see how the grip works for a pre-made character. So this is the grip, okay. And does the hand have a weld? No, that's the left hand. We need the right hand. There we go. And yeah, there is a weld. But this seems to be the normal weld, not the weld constraint. So I think that this is the problem. We just need to use a normal weld, not a weld constraint. And just from a script set the grip to how it should be. Now that I have the view model set up and an idle animation added as a cherry on top, it's time to finally create the tree mechanic itself. But here I came across quite a lot of significant problems that I had to overcome. I just sat there for quite a while, but I decided to ask for some help on my Discord server. So I want to thank Mr. Meowtson and Plotspot for helping me out. And I have 2 Discord servers, by the way, if you didn't know. But my first method of attempting to create this was using the touched event. But the critical hitbox just wouldn't receive it. But then they helped me think of another solution. Before, I wanted to check if the axe had touched the critical hitbox. But the problem is that the view model exists only on the client. So the server has no idea that the view model / axe even exists. So the fix for this was to send over the size and C frame of the axe's hitbox to the server. So it actually can decide if the axe has hit something. So I put the receiving end of the remote event inside of the for loop of collection service, where all of the trees are handled. So when the remote event is received, a part is created with the same size and C frame that was passed on to the event. So now we should just add in the touched event right in there, right? Wrong. This piece of shit wouldn't detect a thing. So I had to scour the internet for answers as to why this doesn't work, until I read a comment on the dev forum by this guy that the touched events only work on moving parts, and suggested that region 3S should be used instead. So I watched some tutorials, and a bit of research later, I went on to Studio to put my new learned knowledge into play. Why is this function crossed out? So I went on Google again, and to my surprise, This shit is also deprecated, but the good thing is that the only reply on this thread led to a different thread, which showcases a thing called overlap params. Welp, more research time, but I think this is it. Okay, welcome back to failed attempt number 69. Yay! Okay, well, I made some changes once again, and let's see if this mathematical equation works now. Oh my god. Okay, let's walk up to something. Okay, that kind of seems promising. Oh shit, it actually works. If you want to know exactly how I learned to script, don't hesitate and check out the link in the description, or the link in the pinned comment, because I truly think that you're gonna find the story interesting and most likely helpful too. But now, I hope you enjoyed the devlog. If you have any questions or suggestions, don't hesitate and leave them in the comments. But as always, remember, you're just one game away. And I'll see you in the next one.